instrument, find a reflective vest, find all sorts of personal protective equipment, PPE. They are now not for hospitals. Why? Because you last cleaned when you are still in school, so you'll get blisters. Protect yourself, and then we'll be good to go.
Sabia, what's that?
Look on the bright side. Everybody has something to clean with at home, so maybe you just might want to check.
So can we deal with all this?
Yes,
okay,
sure,
yeah?
for free.
Let's get to the headlines.
Move it out.
A clean Uganda is everybody's responsibility.
Make Uganda clean.
Saturday of every month from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Government rolls out a nationwide cleaning exercise.
All Ugandans are expected to participate.
The 394 all disappeared in a station called Nyahururu.
Uganda Railways Corporation boss handed over to CID over missing wagons.
We want you to tell us how the railway can go back on its feet.
How did they disappear within Kenya?
The security engineer, ED, we are going to arrest you immediately.
By the time a woman in my situation picks a pen and writes a letter resigning her job,
Wangadia turns up at the parliamentary committee. Apologizes to the country for mismanaging the rights body.
and to all the people of Uganda, we have let you down.
Nobody should sell this food.
Food aid finally arrives in Karamoja. Distribution to start almost immediately.
This food should not be wasted.
Women council elections take place across the country with a few hiccups reported. UEDCL unveils ambitious plan to strengthen electricity supply across the Greater Kampala metropolitan.
Kawempe, Gayaza, and other areas along the corridor.
This is NBS Live at 9 with Victoria Sibia, Samson Kasumba, and Kanari Mugume.
Hi, good evening. Now, patriotic Ugandans like myself and yourself will now pause for 3 hours every last Saturday of the month as the government rolls out a nationwide cleaning exercise aimed at improving sanitation and reducing preventable diseases. Prime Minister Robin Nabbanja, it had to be her, says business will close and movement will be restricted from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. starting this Saturday, July the 25th. Authorities are warning. Yes, here's the warning, that whoever defies the directive risks legal action. That's tight.
For years, poor waste management, dirty markets and blocked drainage have fueled cholera, typhoid and malaria outbreaks across Uganda. In response, the government has rolled out a monthly cleaning day to tackle the root of the problem and protect public health across the country. The Prime Minister Robin Nabbanja announced that every last Saturday of the month will be dedicated to a nationwide cleaning exercise, with Ugandans expected to spend 3 hours cleaning their communities starting from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. and will be observed across the country. Nabbanja says the initiative will focus on public spaces, including markets, schools, roads, hospitals, places of worship and other communal areas. The first nationwide cleanup is scheduled for Saturday, July 25th.
The initiative establishes the last Saturday of every month from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. as a national cleaning day, during which all Ugandans are expected to participate in community cleaning activities.
During the designated cleaning hours, all businesses will be required to close and no commercial activity will be permitted from 7 a.m. Movement will also be restricted, with motor vehicles, motorcycles and bicycles barred from operating. Only emergency and authorized vehicles, including ambulances and fire trucks, will be allowed on the roads. The Prime Minister has directed local leaders at village and sub-county levels to mobilize residents and ensure full participation in the exercise. Government says this is a time for Uganda to pause its daily activities and prioritize cleanliness.
And vehicles is strictly prohibited during the 3 hours of cleaning activities. Exemptions will only be made for genuine emergencies and essential vehicles such as ambulances, fire and rescue services and security operations.
The Ministry of Health says the initiative is intended to improve public health, noting that hospitals across the country continue to receive overwhelming numbers of patients. Health Minister Dr. Chris Bariomosi says 75% of the illnesses are linked to poor sanitation and could be prevented.
You find the hospitals are full of patients, both those occupying the beds but also those on the floor, which if we intensified the campaign on how to avoid and prevent most of these illnesses, then we can get fewer patients.
The Deputy Inspector General of Police, James Ochaya, says security agencies are fully prepared to ensure the exercise is conducted peacefully and without disruption. He warns individuals that intend to defy the directive that they risk facing the law.
We have capacity to enforce arising from what we did during the COVID. So our purpose there will be just to hand a few who may deviate from this very important program.
Government insists that this is not a one-off sanitation campaign, but a long-term national program aimed at promoting cleanliness across the country. With this initiative, Uganda joins several other East African countries that have embraced nationwide sanitation programs.
Certainly, this is going to be a very special opportunity to know who loves Uganda and who is lip-servicing patriotism. Well, now as Uganda does embrace the renewed national cleaning culture, the question is, and always will be, what is happening elsewhere within East Africa and across East Africa? Countries are also pushing for cleaner cities, from Rwanda's monthly community work to Tanzania's waste management laws, and then bring in Kenya's plastic ban. We take a look at how Uganda's new drive does compare with the rest in East Africa. Of course, we begin with Tanzania, and Tanzania has been at this for some time, observing its National Environment Cleaning Day on the first Saturday of every month, established to combat issues like unmanaged waste and disease outbreaks. Citizens there, the Tanzanians across major cities and towns, are encouraged to spend their mornings cleaning their local neighborhoods, markets and streets. Again, Tanzanians were in 2021 ordered to make it a habit at the first Saturday of every month, and that is used for cleaning up the environment. Then let's get to Rwanda. They have the Umuganda that takes place every last Saturday of every month and has been around for a very long time, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. and is one of the most important civic activities in the country, although often described as voluntary. Here is the rider. Umuganda is a mandatory civic duty for all able-bodied Rwandan citizens aged between 18 and 65. The activity plays a major role in making Rwanda one of the cleanest countries in Africa. Regular cleaning of public spaces, strict environmental awareness, and active community participation have transformed cities and rural areas is like the reason Kigali is frequently praised for its cleanness. Even Burundi every Thursday is dedicated to monitoring compliance with hygiene and sanitation measures. Boy, oh boy, even South Sudan, the government there launched a nationwide cleaning campaign early this year, urging all sectors of society to prioritize sanitation to prevent disease. So here's the big question. Why not Uganda? Like why not Uganda? What is wrong with us? Why not us? Okay, good question there.
Now, the embattled chairperson of the Uganda Human Rights Commission, Justice Mariam Wangadia, broke down in tears before the Parliamentary Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs as she detailed the hostility, intimidation and internal wrangles she says she has faced since taking over leadership of the commission. Wangadia told the committee, chaired by Bugabula North Member of Parliament John Taylor, that 3 commissioners, Sumian Subugo, Colonel Stephen Bamtaliza and Jacqueline Athere, have been undermining her. She alleged that they have intimidated her, insulted and frustrated her to the extent that she now fears convening commission meetings to hear cases that have been filed.
imagined that a head of institution could be bullied, humiliated, harassed and taunted and disrespected.
The Uganda Human Rights Commission chairperson, Justice Maria Mwangadia, on Thursday appeared before the Parliament's Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, chaired by Bugabula North Member of Parliament, John Taylor, where she opened with an apology to the country over harsh remarks she made against fellow commissioners.
Apologizing to the country for the language I used, which I said is beneath my character. I'm sorry to all those I offended, but please know I had been pushed to the edge. The people who know me know that that is not my character.
Appearing alongside Commissioner Crispin Kaheru, who is also accused of frustrating the commission, Wangadia said she has spent the last 5 months under unbearable pressure that includes media attacks and smear campaigns on social media.
I have spent the past 5 months telling them that I am not in hiding, that there is no investigation on me, that I am not a thief. I have spent the past 5 months telling journalists that I'm not in exile, that I'm not on the run.
Wangadia explained why the commission has not held any meetings since March 2026.
They yell at me, humiliate, insult, and swear at me. They point fingers at me. Commission meetings are utter chaos. Each meeting I convene leaves me in tears. I have never known peace ever since I took oath as chairperson of the Uganda Human Rights Commission. By the time a woman in my situation picks a pen, places it on paper, and writes a letter resigning her job.
Well, Chairman, maybe we can have a procedure.
Chairman, we have some procedural issues.
The chairperson further accused the 3 commissioners of attending meetings dressed in NRM attire and of receiving allowances for work they did not do.
They even wear party colors and symbols for official meetings, causing immense embarrassment to the commission.
Wangadia also explained the decision to dismiss the over 200 cases that had not been chaired by the commission, a matter that angered committee members who questioned her leadership.
Father Lokodo came in at the last moment.
She broke down a second time as she explained the circumstances that led to the death of Reverend Simon Lokodo in Geneva.
He stepped in because this commissioner who I had asked to travel to Geneva had declined. Mr. Chairman, I sent one of the members of the commission there, Father Lokodo, to represent us at that meeting. To date, I regret that decision. I had no idea how frail he was.
The Parliamentary Committee on Fiscal Infrastructure has handed the Managing Director of Uganda Railways Corporation, Benon Kajuna, to the Parliamentary Police over the disappearance of 394 railway wagons that went missing in Kenya in 2022. The committee is also investigating the expenditure of 25 billion provided by the government of Spain for the training of staff at Uganda Railways Corporation.
Officials from the Uganda Railways Corporation, led by the State Minister for Works and Transport, Julius Maganda, together with the Managing Director, Benon Kajuna, appeared before Parliament's Fiscal Infrastructure Committee to respond to issues raised in the Auditor General's report for the 2024-2025 financial year.
They have not even told us that a certain number has been recovered.
The other government doesn't allow to have your wagons.
Not even sure of how many wagons we have and the ones we lost where they actually are.
During the meeting, committee members chaired by Mwine Mpaka demanded an explanation over the disappearance of the 394 railway wagons that were being used under a regional railway arrangement involving Uganda, Kenya and Tanzania.
How can we get them back? Because now it has become, this is theft. You're stealing from a whole sovereign country. A wagon is not like a pen that got lost.
Actually lost 281 wagons for the Kenya Railways. This puts Uganda into disrepute.
Late in April 2026, we
jointly had a wagon census with Kenya Railways.
The officials told the committee that Uganda Railways had previously signed a tripartite agreement with Kenya and Tanzania to allow home movement of these wagons upon entry, but later disappeared in Nyahururu, Mombasa, in Kenya, forcing committee members to hand over Benon Kajuna to police CID for more investigation on the missing wagons.
The tripartite agreement, it indicates that if a wagon stays in Kenya for more than 90 days, then it is assumed it has been lost.
Don't really joke around. You're already on warning that they are going to call the police and you will be retained here.
These are now missing wagons. We don't know whether they were stolen. We don't know whether they have been sold. We don't know whether they're in Kenya. We don't know which country they are in. Responsible person should be held liable.
It seems we are taking it lightly, but not looking at how much government is losing.
He's going to go and record a statement at police, and if he does not provide evidence within a week, the next time he reports, then we shall officially open a file regarding the disappearance of Uganda's wagons.
The committee also questioned the officials of the accountability of 25 billion shillings that was donated by the government of Spain to train Uganda railway staff in capacity building.
Director who doesn't know how 80 million euros was spent.
Members further raised concerns over the management of Uganda Railways land, including allegations that part of the corporation's land had been allocated to businessman Godfrey Chirumira.
0.3% of the URS total asset base is secure.
The committee also discussed the increasing cases of accidents along railway crossings.
People are dying on those railway crossings, and they have been dying for several years.
All right, let's now throw some perspective on the committee work. Different committees do struggle with doing their work efficiently and effectively. And joining us through that perspective is Joseph Ocheno, who is a political analyst and UPC ideologue. Joseph, many thanks for joining us tonight on this program. Now, Parliament committees are always busy scrutinizing audit reports provided for by the Auditor General and looking into the dirt that is within government ministries, agencies and departments. However, there are concerns that there's interference, there's delays, there's lack of resources, that do disrupt this kind of work. How best can they operate without these disruptions?
Thanks for having me, Canary. I think you're asking a question which ideally should be an obvious one. Parliamentary committees operate on the basis of a quasi-judicial powers. Parliament does. Indeed, Uganda Human Rights Commission should. But if it is the case that these organizations cannot, enforce, the powers that has been given to them, in fact, by the law, it means that together with all the other arms of government, they're possibly merely useless. I think with the new parliament, and considering the fact that we have seen some new ministers who've come in who are now operating like police investigators going around the country, maybe there may be a new spirit. But quite clearly, I think the country should wake up and Ugandans should actually express, ideally possibly through the ballot, to tell this regime that whatever else is happening is completely unacceptable. The example that you're just giving at the moment is terrible. The recent incident, on railway crossing is quite a clear example of failure of systems. But really, Canary, how on earth can a railway wagon or a railway engine disappear between Mombasa and Kampala? A tiny little car cannot, a bicycle cannot. What would? The answer is there is a national impunity, and unfortunately, is basically a manifestation of a systematic failure. But as I said, maybe with the beginning of this, if parliamentary committee members know that they've got the powers, and for once they want to begin to operate independent of interference from either the executive or any other arm of government or particular individuals, let's wait and see.
All right, Joseph, look, there's always a time when the committees do their work. They do investigate, write reports, majority and minority. The reports are later shelved. Or even with all these recommendations, there is no proof that these reports can actually go on and bite. How best can you deal with such a thing, that it's just a recommendation and it stops there in a report?
No, parliamentary committees have got powers. And as I said, we need to be sticking some of these things on one issue at a time. I think this is a good example, Conor, and if some of the members are listening today, let them simply say that, well, the demands that they put through either to leaders from Ministry of Transport, leaders, say, from Ministry of Finance, in this case, particularly whichever agency they've interviewed and they consider that they're absolutely responsible, they should stick to them. If it is the case that they're not being satisfactory, they should refer some of these matters to the police. And if they refer them to the police, they should continuously remind the public through the fourth estate like yourselves, who usually do a good work, that, well, the pending issues here of public money. And if they do that and we remain systematically consistent with issues of this kind of failures, I can tell you, country, things will change in our country. Part of the problem is that the citizenry have lost hope. And some of these members of parliamentary committees go in down there on the basis of privilege, and because of the basis of privilege and patronage, maybe they choose to remain on the fence, forgetting about the roles they've got and the mandates that they've got from the citizenry.
Joseph Otieno, in just 30 seconds, you've seen the agencies being investigated inside Parliament, and all of a sudden investigations just disappear with no strong recommendations pointing to possible corruption. Do you think that that is an issue that will be addressed in this 12th Parliament?
I miss really that question. I mean, your question the line is not very clear, Conway, today.
No, my question, Joseph, is that sometimes when the investigations get so intense, we see the recommendations become weaker, pointing to possible corruption.
Yes.
Is that an issue that can be addressed in the 12th Parliament?
Now, I've got you, yes. It should be. And as I said, we should hold parliamentary committee members accountable. We should all hold their chairpersons accountable. And we should stick this to the public and make sure that the parliamentary committees not only stick to their rules and games, but they demand and make sure that there's no interference. And if the interference is, as I said, they're quasi-judicial bodies, and if there's interference from whichever arm of government or from particular individuals, they should say so. If they say so, whether it's coming from the president or whoever a power center, people will think twice. I know, granted, people are saying that in Uganda we have a sense of impunity, but maybe we have impunity because people don't apply their power sufficiently. Maybe parliamentary committees don't know that they've got powers, nor do members of parliament know that they've got powers. But in any case, some of them have now been driven to the point of doing things that serve their purposes rather than serve the purpose of the citizens. And that's why it's important that you, the fourth estate, continue to do the work that you do and make sure that, citizens back you and we back you and we put demands on these people. But unfortunately, if these people don't know that there are consequences at the end of 5 years, maybe they'll continue like this. But I think it's not sustainable. And I mean, as you know, I'm from London. I'm in London, and the last 1 week I've been seeing whatever's happening in Westminster Parliament. I think I'm much more energized about some of these issues than ever before.
Joseph Otieno, many thanks for sharing your perspective with us, and quite interesting views right there. Let's take a look at your feedback on our opinion question.
Feedback brought to you by. In business, you need advice, solutions, and sector expertise when it matters.
Your new office space looks great. What's next?
We get it. Absa Business Banking.
Right, let's get into the feedback and the question tonight. Government has declared a monthly 3-hour cleaning exercise, which Samson is excited about. How are you planning to support the National Cleaning Day in your neighborhood, apart from, waking up very early morning and putting on a reflector jacket and holding a spade?
We'll have an opportunity to slay very well.
I don't know who those are, but let's get a look at our first comment right there. Cosima Samtoide says, I'm eagerly waiting for the day, especially in my community, to be part, but the government should at least support us with safety gear, such as gloves and masks, to help us in cleaning our communities, and also designate and build dumping sites to properly manage the collected garbage. I think you agree with the last...
Coast must buy your stuff. Government yet we have no. The Rainmaker, Uganda is an interesting place for a country, and so are our priorities and interventions. This is a good thing. Let's just get it done.
All right. Regan says, I will actively participate in the cleanup exercise by mobilizing my community, properly disposing of waste and clearing drainage channels and promoting environmental hygiene to maintain a cleaner and healthier neighborhood.
I've picked a place to clean.
Okay.
We won't turn up. You and who? You and who?
Rodney, come on.
Let's just turn up. I've been invited to clean around Makerere Kavule.
Okay. Because of the person who announced the cleanup exercise?
No, necessarily. Let's just shovel.
All right, let's take a break.
Stuff and I mean, get your protective equipment. Now we will know people who love Uganda and those who've been lip servicing this whole thing. Maybe I come and we clean around your place.
Let's get this rubbish off. Take a break.
In life, every minute matters. But sometimes, one simple bank errand takes your whole day. Queues, delays, valuable time lost. But now, Pride Bank Edikumuriango. Deposit money, repay loans, and pay bills easily at a quick teller agent near you. No more wasted time, no more stress. With Pride Agency Banking, powered by Quick Teller, your bank is now part of your everyday life.
Pride Kumuriango.
Quick Teller, everyday payments made easy. Pride Bank, your growth is our pride. Pride Bank is regulated and supervised by the Bank of Uganda, and customer deposits are protected by the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda up to 10 million shillings. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello, Mr. Mukasa.
Hello, how are you?
I'm okay, sir. Are you the broker?
The original one.
I was told you have very good rentals.
That is right. How many bedrooms do you want?
I want 3 bedrooms.
Okay, did I tell you of the price?
Yes, of course. 500,000.
No. This side, the salary went a bit high.
Why?
Because the paint we use is of good quality. So the place gained the value.
Which paint?
Global paint.
How?
For the ceiling, for us we use Global Mat. And for the inside walls, we use Global Silk Vinyl.
Okay, tell me about the outside walls.
Outside we use Global Weather Coat Emulsion so that the walls don't peel.
I'm really impressed. The precision you put while painting, I'm willing to pay any amount.
That is true, because here for us quality is paramount and the place becomes humidity.
Global Paint, a reliable product.
MTN voice bundle. Load. Hey. Hello, Mama. Hey, it is me, your son, Opio. Hey, now, Mama, listen to me. MTN has the offer. Yes, it has the offer. You load from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Now, they have free MTN to MTN minutes. And those minutes are there all day. So you load, you'll thank me later.
Load an MTN voice bundle between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. and get 3 free MTN to MTN minutes valid all day. Dial *100 *21# and get your free minutes bully daily. Free your fire with free minutes from MTN. Together, our connection is unstoppable. MTN.
The problem is the foundation.
Do you know the kind of cement I'm using in this foundation? I guarantee you even my grandchildren will come and find this house.
You buy your buy today and get the job done. Strong, reliable, available at hardware shops countrywide.
You got Glovo. You got Glovo. You can order what you want. You can get what you need. You got Glovo. You got it all. Order Glovo and receive it in minutes.
There is a new era of elegance and it begins at your event. At Peno Events, we have upgraded with fresh, modern, stylish event pieces designed to transform any space into a masterpiece. From luxury tents to elegant furniture to premium mobile washrooms, hand wash stations, lounge sets, parasols, wooden chairs, modern chair set, banquet setup. Peno Events. Safe, reliable, stylish. Book now.
Welcome back. Let's continue with our news this evening. Now, Moroto District has received its first consignment of emergency food relief as government begins distributing aid to communities affected by the worsening hunger crisis. The intervention comes after prolonged drought disrupted crop production, leaving thousands of households without food.
The first trucks carrying emergency food relief have arrived in Moroto District, bringing hope to thousands of families struggling with severe food shortages. The consignment transported by the National Enterprise Corporation (NEC) was officially received by the resident District Commissioner Benon Kwichiriza alongside district officials.
So on behalf of the Moroto District Local Government and on behalf of Karamoja, I want to appreciate His Excellency the President and the Office of the Prime Minister for the very quick intervention.
Moroto District is expected to receive 781,410 kilograms of relief food comprising maize flour and beans. The food will be distributed to more than 26,000 households across the district's 41 parishes, targeting families most affected by the prolonged dry spell. The emergency intervention follows months of failed harvests caused by prolonged drought, which has left thousands of households without adequate food. Local leaders say more than 20 people have died in the region during the food crisis, prompting government to fast-track the relief program. The Minister for Karamoja Affairs, John Baptist Loki, has urged beneficiaries to use the food responsibly and avoid selling it. He says the relief is intended to sustain vulnerable families as government works on longer-term solutions to food insecurity.
This food should not be wasted. Let us use this food sparingly, because we don't know the next time we shall receive food again. So use this food sparingly. We are warning all the beneficiaries, nobody should sell this food. It is labeled, the bags are well labeled, that this food was provided by the government of Uganda through the Office of the Prime Minister.
Minister of State Esther Anyakun says the government is working with humanitarian partners to support malnourished children under the age of 5 and strengthen school feeding interventions to protect learners from the effects of hunger.
And I want to thank the partners. Today we have been meeting and we are going to meet even tomorrow, the World Food Programme, the UNICEF. Government is going to the households, World Food, the partners are going to the schools so that our children are able to go to school, and also other partners like UNICEF is holding the issue of nutrition.
District leaders say the distribution exercise will begin immediately, with priority being given to the most vulnerable households as authorities continue monitoring the food situation across Moroto.
Now, let's move on to the elections. There was excitement across several parts of Kampala from early hours of the morning as victorious candidates in the Women's Council elections celebrated their victories through their respective villages. However, in some areas, candidates raised concerns after questioning the eligibility of some individuals who had turned up at polling stations, claiming they were unfamiliar to the local community. Despite the isolated disputes, the voting process continued, with some candidates emerging victorious while others conceded defeat.
By around 8 a.m., election officials had already arrived at Katale Zone in Wandegia, where voters and candidates had also assembled in preparation for the exercise. The polling station was officially designated as a voting center before officials conducted the mandatory voter roll call. One by one, registered voters were called and proceeded to stand behind the candidates of their choice in line with Uganda's village election voting procedure. However, midway through the roll call, NRM candidate Rehma Chinabi challenged the participation of several people who had already lined up to vote, arguing that they were not known residents of the area. She demanded that election officials verify the voter register before the exercise could proceed. These complaints prompted Kampala RCC Haji Umar Rule to temporarily suspend the election and order a fresh verification of the voters' register. The situation also forced police officers to intervene and restore order after tension began escalating. Security personnel first removed non-voters, particularly men, from the polling area to allow the exercise to continue peacefully. Although the election resumed, Rehma remained dissatisfied after election officials confirmed that everyone whose name had been called appeared on the official voters' register. Moments later, she abandoned the voting process midway through the exercise, an action that contravenes the electoral guidelines governing the elections. Voting stretched until midday as officials continued reading out the voters' register. Throughout the process, nearly every voter lined up behind independent candidate Harriet Nambiru, who consistently attracted queues almost 3 times longer than those of her rivals. When the final tally was announced, Nambiru secured a landslide victory of more than 270 votes, comfortably defeating 4 opponents, including NUP's Jalia Nachigozi, who managed just 5 votes. Both Nambiru and Nachigozi criticized the earlier attempts to disrupt the election, despite voters having already demonstrated a clear preference for their candidate. Meanwhile, at Remand, a village in Shariako, the voting exercise was equally tense despite the relatively low voter turnout among women. Election officials carefully cordoned off the polling area before the voting process began. However, candidates and voters also questioned the eligibility of some people who had turned up to vote, insisting that they were unknown in the village and demanded another verification of the voters' register. The situation prompted both the military and police to deploy to the area to maintain order before the election resumed. Officials continued calling out voters one by one before they lined up behind their preferred candidates, after which the votes were counted and winners declared.
At the start, it was vague. I feared, but later on, I became happy because people were behind me.
There is a problem of what? Of deleting people from the register.
Overall, Kampala Regional Elections Officer Jennifer Choutunji described as peaceful the overall elections process in Kampala.
We've gotten a few complaints here and there of the people who are not in the registers and they want to participate. But the law is very clear and we follow the law. If you don't come to register at the time of registration and if you're not in the register, there is no way you can participate.
Now let's move on to the West, where women across Mbarara turned up in large numbers to vote in the Women's Council elections, demonstrating a strong determination to shape local leadership despite widespread allegations of voter rigging and administrative disputes over voter identification. While polling proceeded smoothly in several areas, tensions flared over voting guidelines. Candidates in multiple polling centres raised concerns over potential vote manipulation and demanded that voters present national identification cards before lining up to vote.
At several polling stations in Mbarara City, voters were ready by 9 a.m. At Kachika Cell, names started to be read as voters entered the gate. Here, voting started at 11:20 a.m. and by midday, they were done. According to polling officials, the election registered a high voter turnout with calm process of the election.
Today the turnout was good. We had 80 voters who came and were present. Some of the people delayed. It started around 11. So we had that, but they came all at once. That helped us to finish in time.
However, a standoff escalated in Rwebihuru Cell, where voting was delayed until 2 p.m. due to a dispute raised by the National Resistance Movement NRM candidate Birungi Peace.
Let them bring IDs. We check whether they are the ones who are in that register.
Birungi insisted that voters present national IDs to prove their identity. This demand directly contradicted the Electoral Commission guidelines, which stipulate that any verified resident known to the community and listed on the village register is eligible to vote regardless of whether they hold a national ID.
They baptized some people. They gave them those names of those people who shifted. They brought them here. they are going to vote. I'm not going to relate to that.
The prolonged argument in Rwebihuro necessitated heavy deployment of security personnel to maintain order, restore peace, and allow polling process to eventually commence.
But I heard people alleging that maybe they were, the names were not corresponding with the new numbers. But we have tried to establish, but we have really failed. But in other polling stations, the exercise is done already. But this one here, it is always these problems.
Despite the procedural hiccups and heated debates, the process concluded with a message of unity. Newly elected leaders across most villages pledged to put political rivalries aside and collaborate closely with defeated contestants and all community members.
Well, I got to hand it over to Connery, where we have to look at the Uganda shilling. The numbers are going higher and higher just slightly. I'm looking forward to the updates that you have for us, Connery.
The dollar has gone up from 3,620 and now as we speak today it is standing at 3,720 Ugandan shillings, that is per dollar. It means that we've seen a drop from that 3,620 to 3,720. That's a whole 100 shillings, and that could mean quite a lot. But this is all data coming in from the Bank of Uganda. Now let's look at why is the dollar rising. Number one, we have supply. And the supply, which means that the US level, back to the supply, it means that the number of dollars in the country are quite low, and therefore the dollar has to go up. But also, why is that? Fewer dollars entering into the country, because perhaps this could be one of the reasons. US level 4 of the travel advisory that has, of course, put Uganda to sort of between a rock and a hard place. So therefore, that has gone into fewer international travelers as opposed to what the situation was before, and then lower tourism earnings, and has also been about reduced business travel and investment inflows, and therefore you have few dollars in the country. But also Uganda still needs some dollars because we need fuel imports, and also we have to import in some medicine, machinery, industry equipment, airline payments, international obligations. Now all these do require some dollars, and therefore it is quite much needed, but the dollar is still quite up. Now the travel advisory, let's do some connection here. How does the travel advisory from the United States do connect to the dollar rising? Number one, it has of course led to fewer tourists and business visitors, fewer tourism dollars entering into the economy. It might look as such a small thing, but it's quite a big deal. Then you also have reduced foreign exchange inflows, those that would have been here with the dollars and not here, or those that would have been here are now quite fewer. And then you also have pressure on the dollar market. Now let's also now try to understand more to that. You have shilling weakening because of the few dollars on the market and the pressure on the dollar market. Now, why do we have to advocate for the dollars to be here? Because the tourism dollars do matter to the hotels and lodges, to the transportation, to the restaurants. Might have been to some five-star hotels do require you to pay in dollars. Then you also have the national parks and tourism activities, and then of course the local businesses when there's some exchange of the dollars. Now the impact on ordinary Ugandans between you and I, you also have the fuel costs that are rising, you have transport costs increase, and prices of imported goods may also rise. Not just that, but also prices of foodstuffs. All right, that means that it is very important that we do have the dollar come down, or else we're still stuck at 3,720. That means it's quite a problem. Will the travel advisory by the United States be lifted? Is there anything that the Ugandan diplomats can do in the meantime to have the dollar come down to those being affected? That's a question that is very important to ask. Sibia.
Well, it is quite an important question to ask, but not only that, it's good news if you already have dollars that you're holding, and it's bad news if you're trying to buy dollars because you buy them more expensive. But if you have them, for sure, maybe it might be good news because you'll have a lot more.
Do you have some dollars in your pocket?
I do. That's probably why I'm talking dollars.
Or South African rands?
I do have dollars.
Can we talk after the news bulletin?
Maybe we can talk after the break. Let's go ahead and take a quick break. We'll be right back.
More to come. Brought to you by
Global Paint. How? For the seeding. For us, we use Global Mat.
Global Paint, a reliable product.
Well, before we get back from the break, rather, we're going to be looking at SODE, the Uganda's Uganda's digital transformation takes center stage tomorrow as leaders from government, technology and business, academia and innovation ecosystem gather for the third edition of the State of the Digital Economy 2026. Those are the words I was trying to get, but let's go ahead and take a quick break.
Before the medal, before the success, there are mornings no one sees. Days you carry alone. Days the doors won't stay open. Days you need more than you have. Fighting for something bigger than yourself. In those moments, it is the people that show up for us. A hand, a loan, a door that stays open. A silent push to get you moving again. The ones you don't see fighting for you while you're fighting for yourself. That's what it means to have someone on your side. I&M Bank, on your side.
Why pay for someone else's repairs? Say goodbye to hidden costs and hello to peace of mind of a brand new start. Discover the Suzuki range of unmatched, fuel-efficient and reliable options. From the iconic Jimny to the new Across Hybrid. Find the perfect blend of style and world-class efficiency. Upgrade today and enjoy 1 year of free fuel and comprehensive insurance, plus 2 years of free service and a 3-year warranty. Trade in your current car or choose financing to start driving as you pay installments. Don't wait. Visit the Suzuki showroom today or call 0800-211-033 to get started.
You wanna make tasty food and sales. You wanna do that doesn't steal. Candaling and no yanai. Seek a debut to one night. Nairo acro ya seek a debut to one night. Candaling and no yanai.
Cook better, sell better with modern healthy cholesterol-free cooking oil and modern non-sticky wheat flour. Modern Yenyabo.
We don't need anyone's permission to move forward. What we need is the power to do it our way. Spiro is not your typical EV company. It's the power grid for African ambition. A network that connects Nairobi to Kigali, Lagos to Lome, Dar to Kampala. Not with cables and wires, but with clean, quiet, relentless movement. This is Africa, powered by us.
Experience the ultimate in bathing luxury with Lanzo Luxury Bathing Soap. Choose from a variety of refreshing types, including menthol, antibacterial, ice cool, blueberry, coconut, and raspberry. Each one promises an upper-world, refreshing feel that redefines your experience with bathing. Lanzo Luxury Bathing Soap, the ultimate refreshing feel. Distributed by Chopper General Enterprises, located at shop number 3, Rafik Building, Chikoba, Kampala. You can find Lanzo Luxury Bathing Soap in shops and supermarkets nearby.
Uganda is moving forward.
And at the heart of that movement is the most extensive fiber network in East Africa, with more than 15,000 kilometers of fiber and over 5,000 telecom mast sites. Soliton Telmec is the backbone that enables Uganda's telecom and digital infrastructure, connecting government services, businesses, homes, universities, hospitals, banks, villages, and telecom masts. We don't just build networks, we maintain and commercialize critical infrastructure that supports national development. East Africa's leading fiber company, connecting Uganda with the most capacity. Soliton Telmec, building networks for life.
Now, laboratory science has become one of the strongest pillars of Uganda's fight against deadly outbreaks such as Ebola, Marburg and other emerging diseases. Scientists specializing in disease detection and surveillance are at the forefront in Uganda's Ebola triumph journey. Today, our reporter Henry Mgenyi takes you inside one of the country's most critical public health laboratories, the Central Emergency Response and Surveillance Laboratory in Wandagea, to see how science is helping keep Uganda safe.
Uganda's Ebola story dates back to the early 2000s. The first outbreak was recorded in Gulu, Masindi, and Mbarara. To date, Uganda has now registered 9 Ebola virus outbreaks. Each outbreak has strengthened Uganda's experience, scientific expertise, and capacity to respond to public health emergencies. Today, the country's ability to rapidly test samples, identify pathogens, and determine the exact virus responsible for an outbreak has become one of its greatest strengths. To support this work, government has invested heavily in building and equipping modern public health laboratories across the country. These facilities are home to scientists who work around the clock, analyzing samples and generating evidence that guides national outbreak response. One of these facilities is a Central Emergency Response and Surveillance Laboratory, CERSL, which plays a central role in detecting and investigating emerging infectious diseases. Here, scientists answer critical questions. What disease is this? What caused it? How is it spreading? Which virus is responsible? Dr. Andrew Nsaoteba is a senior laboratory scientist and heads the Central Emergency Response and Surveillance Laboratory.
This lab tests what we call viral hemorrhagic fevers, such as Ebola, Marburg, Rift Valley fever, and others.
The Central Emergency Response and Surveillance Laboratory is one of Uganda's leading public health laboratories. It receives and analyzes samples collected from surveillance sites across the country under the strict biosafety and biosecurity protocols. Using advanced laboratory techniques, scientists examine samples to determine the disease involved, identify the virus or pathogen responsible, and provide information that guides treatment, surveillance, and outbreak control.
In fact, the main thing that cuts across all our processes is safety of the sample, or what we call patient safety, but also the safety of the personnel and also the safety of the environment. So when samples are received, we decontaminate inside the cool box, but the sample is protected, so the sample is not exposed to bleach. And thereafter 10 minutes, the sample is moved to the glove box. So the glove box is the heart of this laboratory.
Dr. Nsaoteba says Uganda no longer waits for outbreaks to claim lives before taking action. Instead, surveillance systems continuously monitor disease activity, allowing scientists to detect unusual health events early and respond before they escalate. This expertise is a huge asset for the country in the wake of several outbreaks.
Beyond the clinical testing, we also do what we call wastewater and environmental surveillance, where we collect samples from wastewater treatment plants such as Bugolobi, fecal sludge treatment plant na Chivubo, na Lukolongo, and we go and collect that sewage twice every week and come and test it, because some people might not move to health facilities when they are sick. So that helps us to detect some of the signals of these diseases early.
Officials say this growing scientific capacity, combined with strong surveillance systems, committed health workers, and sustained government investment, has enabled Uganda to respond effectively to major disease outbreaks, including Ebola, COVID-19, Mpox, Marburg, and other emerging public health threats.
There are some diseases that appear like Ebola, which we call a syndromic overlap, such as typhoid, malaria. So when we get negative results of Ebola, we continue to do molecular testing for some of those cases. In fact, in this outbreak, we've detected over 60 malaria positive cases from samples that come suspected of Ebola.
Now moving on, Uganda's digital transformation takes center stage tomorrow as leaders from government, technology, business, academia and innovation ecosystem gather for the third edition of the State of the Digital Economy 2026. The conference will examine how the country's growing digital connectivity can be converted into jobs, thriving businesses, stronger public service and sustainable economic growth through 5 strategic pillars that include human capital, cybersecurity, policy, infrastructure and AI.
Uganda has invested heavily in digital infrastructure, from expanding fiber networks to increasing broadband coverage and digital financial services. These investments have laid the foundation for a digital economy, but the next phase is about converting access into productivity, innovation and sustainable business.
This year's themes are still 5: policy, infrastructure, human capital, cybersecurity and AI. So we're bringing people together in these pillars to come and tell us, what does policy, what does AI mean, and how does that change into opportunities, because our theme this year is beyond connectivity. How do we change the state of the digital economy to be inclusive and also create opportunities for the young people and everyone that is using it?
As the State of the Digital Economy 2026 opens, policymakers, entrepreneurs, investors and innovators will examine how technology can create jobs, grow enterprises and position Uganda as a regional digital powerhouse.
For us, the message is mainly checks and balances, auditing the growth of Uganda's digital economy. We have introduced hackathons. We have introduced the Young Tech Founders platform, where we are going to have young people between 8 to 18 coding with already big developers like the Google Developer Network, working together to have an inspiration or a simulation into.
Officials say the State of the Digital Economy 2026 is timely, urging the government, businesses and innovators, especially young people, to move from being consumers of technology to creators of solutions that will shape Uganda's digital future.
This year's theme, Beyond Connectivity, at the end of this year's SODE, we believe we shall have laid ground and made plans for the youth, the young, and even already developed people to grow from just being connected to being equipped.
This space is being appreciated, and we're very excited to have them tomorrow as we put the state of the digital economy conversation at the forefront.
Searching for the right investment destination, Kabalega Petro-based Industrial Park is now open for business in Hoima, Uganda. Over 221 plots measuring 536 acres are available for petrochemicals, agro-processing, manufacturing, industrial services, logistics, warehousing, ICT, hospitality, commercial and residential. Don't let this opportunity pass you. Visit the KIP Investor Portal at kip.unoc.com. Discover the various investment opportunities and project updates, create an account, and book a site visit at KIP. Kabalega Petro-based Industrial Park is open for business. Invest in KIP, invest in Uganda.
You need a bigger space to grow your business.
Be ready for any season.
We need to stop here before we roll.
You need faster checkouts for these busy days.
In business, you need advice, solutions, and sector expertise when it matters.
Your new office space looks great. What's next?
We get it. Absa Business Banking.
How do you make a party? You take time to prepare, to bring all the pieces together, to craft it right. The result, great refreshment. And that makes it time well spent. Club, brewed longer for longer refreshment.
Uganda, are you ready for the biggest honey show in Africa? This August, Tunado welcomes the world to the 4th Africa Apimondia Symposium and Exhibition featuring honey show, apiculture, learning sessions, and business networking opportunities under the theme Beekeeping for Business and Livelihoods. Come join apiculture leaders, researchers, processors, investors, and food systems practitioners from across Africa and beyond. Come and be part of this historic gathering from the 25th to the 28th of August 2026 at Hotel Africana, Kampala. The 4th Africa Apimondia Symposium and Honey Show is organized by Tunado in partnership with Come, Network, Learn, Grow.
Well, I trust everyone is happy with the numbers. If we continue with the same tactics, we're definitely going to see more success.
Absolutely. I love the fact that you use the word success because especially if you look at the on-air talent like Mark over here. Mark, are you with us? Mark.
Yeah.
Where are we?
We're at Fantasy.
Where are we here?
Conference room.
Where?
Where?
Comfort, so exceptional, even the most serious meetings feel effortless.
Start something new, something uplifting, something so effortless and golden. A thirst-quenching burst of sweetness and malty flavor, so rich and full of memories. It's 100% taste, zero alcohol. Try it, savor it, feel it elevate every moment. Sip after sip, gulp after gulp. After all, life's about turning ordinary thrills into golden chills.
Start something malty with the new Evervest Malt Apple and Pineapple. Try the